Hello, everyone. How are you? As you can see, I have a special guest. Jennifer P is in the house.
Hi
Hey,
everyone,
Jennifer.
how are you?
Good. Good. How are you? Oh, shoot. I hear. Is that me or is that you, Jen? I hear.
Do you hear anything now?
Uh, talk, talk. No. I don't hear. Okay, I don't hear nothing. Sorry.
Okay, good, good. I just want to make sure. I was like, oh no, okay.
Okay.
I hate those echoes. Yes,
Yeah. Okay. So, hello, everyone. Some people think it's annoying when you say hello to your guests, but it is what it is, right? I'm not going to be rude to people that come to see me. I'm going to say hello to everyone. So,
of course.
yes, thank you, JJ. Yes, trigger warning. This whole live is trigger warning, okay? We will be talking about, sorry, addiction, recovery, loss of life,
Death, death, yes,
death,
yep,
overdose, all of
yep.
these. Oh my God, sorry. There's like, damn it, my cat. He sets me up every time. Okay.
From your cat.
Right. So if this subject is too deep, too triggering, I would recommend that you guys kind of click out of this one. Do not watch this one. Um, as I said, okay. So this whole live is gonna be trigger warning. Let
Definitely.
me let me put up the banner. I actually have a banner. Sorry. Um, shit, I forgot. Oh God. Okay. So before I do that, I got to do my intro because you're not a real YouTuber without. I'm kidding. I know this is a serious subject, but I'm proud of my sons, and I will always show
Of
their
course you
joint.
are.
Okay, so I'm gonna play my intro, and then we're gonna get started. Okay, as I said, this is a trigger warning for the whole live. We are going to be talking about our experiences. Jennifer P, you guys have heard me speak about her. She's one of my closest friends, and her story is heartbreaking. And I think it's very important for people to hear, not only from someone like me that is in recovery, that had an issue with addiction, but from a mother who has dealt with it on the other end and has suffered a loss that no parent ever wants to suffer. Okay,
Yep.
so we're gonna do that. I'm gonna do my intro, then I'm gonna speak on one
Alrighty.
thing, then we're gonna go into it. Okay,
All right.
here we go.
Yeah. Ghost, we make him fly like a ghost. If he want talk on the game, the heater gon' turn into toast. If he pull out and we spliffed him, he was just doing a distance. Promise we ain't gon' miss him. His soul gon' fly when we lift him. Bye, good riddance. Why is this harm her feelings? To the top on a mission. I got a shot, take it with precision. You ain't up if you ain't down to get it. Fuck your vibe if you ain't vibing with us. No, no, no. Bye, bye, bye. Clock him out. He ain't gon' talk when the Glock is off. You ain't gon' talk when the Glock is off. Headshot, knock him out. Get him, bye.
Okay, so hello, and we are back. Let me turn my camera back on. Okay, so hello everyone.
Hello.
Hi Jennifer, yet again. I'm gonna say hello to everyone as quickly as possible, and then we're gonna get started. Okay, so, oops, switch from top chat to live chat because dumbass. Cindy Lou Who, hello, my favorite Cindy ever. Police Wife Life, hey bestie. Wanda Steves, hello. Vera, hey mama. JJ, Manita, J Fid, hello beautiful. I hope you're well. Okay, Eso Hayi. I'm so sorry if I butchered it. Can I call you Eso? Sorry. That is my son's song. That's an original song that both of my sons made. So that is their original song. So tell me what I can call you for short, because I never want to mispronounce someone's name or be disrespectful. I have seen you a lot. Hello, thank you for being here. Barrett, hey sweetie boy, feel the love. Hey mama, hope you're well. Charlotte, hi Charlotte. Hey, Charlotte. True Ball of Wax. Hey, Waxy, how are you? I think I got everyone. Oh, Cindy S. Hello. Ooh, Cindy Crawford in the picture. I like that. How are you? Thank you. Thank you all so much. Hey, Kirsten Enzi. I was about to say, where you at, girl? I thought I saw Megs. Maybe I didn't, but okay. I love you all. I love you all. Thank you all for being here. So, okay, before we get started, thank you. Thank you. Hey, what up, Pooch? Thank you for being here. So thank you. That song is an original song by my sons. As I said, I'm very proud of them. The whole song is not suitable for work, so I won't play the whole song, but I play the intro. Okay. Before we get started, I just wanted to say this. So many of you who have watched me know that I am in recovery. February 28th will make 21 years that I am clean and sober. I take my recovery very seriously. And I'm very proud of that. Okay. Recently, there's been some drama with addict shaming, all of that. I already addressed that. This is not to rehash that. This is to say me and JJ had scheduled a live to talk about someone who had addict shamed me. And I don't think it's okay. I don't think addict shaming at all is okay. And Jennifer P is an example of why it bothers me so much, not just for me, but for mothers, families, brothers, sisters that are dealing with the aftermath of addiction, losing a loved one. It is a very serious topic, and some people try to trivialize it and make it as not a big deal. When you addict shame, it is. So me and JJ did a live. PJ came on the live, and people said that the live was now null and void. It was a moot point because PJ was on my stream, and before that, PJ had put up a small clip, a short clip, 7-second clip of Yaya's yabbering, and in the description, she put something about addict shame. She addict shamed her. Okay, I want to say this right now. I was not aware that that was in the description. JJ also was not aware that that was in the description. I have no reason to sit up here and lie. I never fixed my mouth to come up here and lie because the internet is forever. So I'm very aware of that. Okay, I do not condone one form of addict shaming. Now, some people always will come and say, well, what about what this person said? What about what that person said? I wish I had the ability to see and watch everything and commentate on everything. I do not have that ability. There are just not enough hours in the day, and it's impossible. Okay, so I can only speak for things that I've seen. I try to only speak for things that I see myself, hear myself, because that's how things get messed up, misinterpreted. All of this stuff happens when hearsay comes into play and you relay something that someone else may have told you and it wasn't done that way. So I always try to speak about things that I've either heard myself, seen myself, in some cases heard and seen. Okay, I do not agree with PJ addict shaming. I'm not throwing her under the bus. I'm just making that very clear right now, because some people are saying that the live and the genuine anger, hurt, and frustration I felt and JJ felt was selective outrage, was fake outrage. There was nothing fake about how angry, how disappointed, and disgusted I was. Okay, there are many people that are still out there that are sick and suffering, and we never want to deter anyone from seeking help, from asking someone for help, or from sharing their life experience and their story out of fear of being addict shamed, out of fear of being mocked, out of fear of being made fun of, because addiction is a matter of life and death. I say that all the time. I cannot stress enough how much addiction is a matter of life and death. Okay, so that is why I take it very seriously. This is not something that I'm sitting up here trying to use against people to get people angry. No, it's not okay to addict shame me. It's not okay to addict shame anyone. And to try to trivialize the way I felt is very dismissive and very disrespectful, adding insult to injury. It's very simple to apologize. I've made many mistakes, and I am never too big to apologize for my mistakes. Okay. So I apologize for not having seen in the description what it said, because I would have had an issue with that, as I'm saying now. It's not okay to addict shame anyone ever. I don't pour shame. I don't addict shame. I don't fat shame, none of that. None of that shaming. I don't do that because, listen, Linda, I'm not far removed from any of that. Okay, so I really wanted to be clear about that. And I think that it's very dismissive to say that my feelings, you just dismiss my feelings when I am a recovering addict and I am telling you how your words affected me, and you're trying to dismiss my feelings because of the words or the actions of someone else. I can only be held accountable for my words, for my actions. Hold me accountable for what I've said. Can we please stop the deflection? The sleight of hand. Can we stop that shit already? Okay. Okay.
And Cindy,
So,
can I? Sorry,
please,
can I?
please.
Can I address? Cindy S is in chat, and she's trying to be disruptive, and we are not going to allow anyone to disrupt this stream. This is a serious life or death, matters discussion,
Yes.
and we cannot control what others say. If others addict shame, we cannot control it.
Right.
And if others have apologized for addict shaming others, then that's up to the person that was, if they want to accept the apology or not. So
Exactly.
please, anyone, we are not going to, derail this stream. So I just telling everybody in chat. Sorry.
Yes.
Go
Thank
ahead,
you.
Cindy.
Sorry, excuse me. Also, today, zero tolerance for the bullshit. I'm not dealing with it. I respect everybody who graces me and comes into my chat, my subscribers, my viewers, all of that. I'm zero tolerance for the bullshit, okay? This is my channel. I say many times the main focus around my channel is my recovery, okay? I am very proud of that. And if someone has an issue with that, I speak about my recovery quite frequently on my channel, then all I can say is maybe this isn't the channel for you, with all due respect, okay? I never want to push anyone away, but I am not doing this anymore. I am not responsible for Roadhog. I am not his wife. Like, not trying to be disrespectful, but like only somebody's wife, and we have limited influence over our spouses. I'm speaking about what was done and said to me because that is all I can address. I cannot address the addict shaming. There's addict shaming all over the place. And I do not want to continue to do the whataboutisms because we can do this all day. We will be here 24 hours a day on a live if it was like that. And Cindy S., I'm sorry, but that is not my topic. That is not my place if he apologized, that's not my place to either accept the apology, reject the apology, or speak about that. Okay? I'm speaking about when I was addict shamed because that has to do with me.
It was personally affected you.
Yes. And it affected my friends like Jennifer P.
Yes,
This is why I'm speaking about it. I'm keeping things on things that I've seen myself. When Roadhog did that, I did not see it from myself. I did not hear it from myself. I saw the after effects. Everybody upset. I heard him apologize afterwards. And okay, you have a clip of it. I don't need a clip of it to know that it was wrong. Okay, Roadhog saying that was wrong. He's admitted that he was wrong. Okay, and I'm not here to speak for him because, again, I am not Roadhog. I am not Mrs. Roadhog. I have no right to do that. I am speaking for myself. Okay, and when I speak of, I have experience on a personal level and on a professional level. So all I ask for is respect here. Zero tolerance. You come in with the bull crap, you try to derail the stream, you're out of here. I'm sorry. But that's enough. Because from my guest, Jennifer P. struggles every single day, right? I waited till after Christmas because I didn't want to talk about such a topic before Christmas, right? The other live I had to address it. It happened. I had to immediately address it. But this is something that I've wanted to do with Jennifer P. for a long time. She has dealt with so much trauma, so much loss, and she can add another side of addiction and of loss. So I'm very honored to have her up on my panel, and I'm gonna, show her the utmost respect. I'm not gonna allow anyone to disrespect her because she is a mom who lost a child, and she is one of my closest friends. Yes, I'm biased. All right, I'll admit that. This is my girl. This is my friend. You're not gonna disrespect her, okay? So,
but you wouldn't want to disrespect anybody,
Exactly. I would never want to disrespect anyone that comes on my panel. I would never want to disrespect anyone in general. Okay. I don't do that. I don't set out to disrespect people. Sometimes I got to say some crap, and I'm going to say some crap, but it's never with the intention to harm or hurt anyone. Okay.
And people have to realize that addiction is a disease that it's with you for life. For the rest of your life, you are struggling with this. Whether you've been clean for 2 weeks or clean for 20 years, it is with you for the rest of your life. And it's very serious.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Waxy. It takes such bravery to share your story. This needs to be remembered. Thank you. So, I don't know if, hello, Villanova. How are you? Thank you for being here. Megs, I knew you were here. Hey, mama. Hi, Rita. ¿Cómo está? That's my prima right there. Nezzy Pie, Jean Welsom. Hello. Okay, guys, sorry. I always got to say hello to everybody because I feel honored for you guys to be here. I'm sorry if it's disruptive. Sometimes I'll try not to do that to Jennifer P because I know it's distracting.
Oh, that's okay.
So I wanted to ask, I'm going to start off with Jennifer P, and then towards the end, I'll share my story because, Cindy has shared her story 81 times. So I want to give Jennifer P the opportunity to share her story. And before we start, also, I'm using my new ring light, my double ring light. So I'm using the colorful setting. Let me see if I can show you guys. Let me see. Wait, let me turn my camera. You see you can't see, but the ring lights are awesome. It changes colors. It's so nice. My parents got me this. What did you say, Jay?
I said I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. So I have it on the colorful setting to match the color in the back. Cindy, colorful. Serious discussions, but I'm always going to be me because this is me. Okay, so Jen, I want to ask you, how many years has it been since you lost your daughter?
My daughter died September 11th, 2008. So it's been 13 years. And she was 18 years old.
Okay. So again, you're my girl, but I'm going to say it publicly. I am so sorry for your loss. She was a baby. 18 years old is a baby, right? 18 years old, I knew nothing about life. I didn't even, like my mother used to say, at 18 years old, I didn't even know how to wipe my ass properly. So I am sincerely sorry for your loss. How long was your daughter using before she passed away?
She was using for about a year. And, I didn't realize it until the end, that she was using, because she was using heroin, and you can snort it, you can shoot it up. So she was snorting it. So, there was no track marks or anything like that. But then I just realized she was always a thin girl. But then I just noticed she started getting thinner and thinner. And then her boyfriend got arrested for drugs.
Oh, wow.
The boyfriend I hated and didn't want her to be with. And so then I was like, wait a minute. If her boyfriend's doing it, she's doing it.
Right.
So she was 18. Basically, I begged her to go to rehab. Unsuccessful. Was on Suboxone. Unsuccessful. Just relapsing, because that's what heroin addicts do. And then what happened was she had been clean for 2 weeks, and unfortunately, with heroin addiction, she went back to using the full amount that she had used prior, and it killed her.
Yeah.
And the way I could get into that, where she was like basically left dead in the bathtub alone. They took her ID. I mean, her own friends, they lied to me and didn't even tell me where she was. She was in a morgue for 3 weeks, because they took her ID, and they tried to do her fingerprints through APHIS, but she didn't have a criminal record. So it's just trying to identify your daughter, when they unzip a body bag. I mean, it's the worst. I would not wish that on my worst enemy. Right. But she struggled. And then after she died, I went through her diaries, and it was just a struggle every day. She didn't want to be an addict. She didn't want to live this life. She didn't want to be, reliant on drugs, but she would get violently ill, and, she didn't want to be sick. So, that's what happens with addicts. They don't want to be sick. And so they're, dependent on the drug. So they keep doing it.
Yeah.
So it was really rough, because I'm fortunate, because she was missing for 3 weeks, but the local TV station did a composite, had an artist come in and do a composite sketch of her. And one of her friends said, I think that's Valerie. And so I was lucky, because I actually got her body back and got to bury her. Well, she's cremated. But other people, they're just Jane Does, and they're like in a pauper grave or something, because, they're not identified, and it's terrible.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. That is. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying not to get emotional because I don't want Jennifer P to be upset. But
Don't worry, I did. I already cried all today, so I wouldn't cry on panel and look like an idiot. But
you listen to me, Jennifer. You would never look like an idiot, okay? Here, Cindy is an emotional person, okay? Cindy gonna cry if Cindy has to cry. Cindy gonna laugh if she has to laugh. Listen, we do this here. Don't ever feel like that. This is not sad fishing. This is not. Be you. And if anybody has an issue with that, come see me. Okay, what she's went through, what she's going through, this is one of the worst things to ever happen to a parent. Okay, you don't even have to be a parent to imagine how devastating that is. I can't
and the worst is
imagine.
like getting the autopsy report, because I was just so angry, because besides dying from the drugs, she was a perfectly healthy person, and it's just like, it made me so angry, because it's like, maybe cancer or car accident, it's more, I could accept it more. It's still tragic and horrible.
Right,
But
right.
the fact that she was completely healthy besides the drugs that killed her, it was just made me so angry,
It was so needless, right?
exactly, needless.
Yeah,
And a lot of, like, I'll tell you, a lot of people, a lot of my friends and stuff, like, they're like, oh, maybe you shouldn't say the way Valerie died. And it's like, no, I have never backed away. I have always said she died of a drug overdose. I always said she was addicted to heroin, because it is a disease, and it's not
yes,
something for anyone to be ashamed of. But
right.
I understand that there are some people that look at addiction, or you being addicted to a drug, as like your lower class, or you don't have any control, or you have no willpower, and it's all ridiculous. It can affect any race, any economic status, anybody. And that's what people need to realize. It's not just for someone that just like some, I don't know what, but
I
it's
understand.
it's
It doesn't affect
yeah.
only minorities. It doesn't affect people that are
Yeah,
poor. It affects people in all walks
everybody.
of life, right? It
I
does
mean,
not discriminate. Addiction
and
does
she was
not
she
discriminate.
was a functioning addict. I mean, she graduated from high school. She had a job, and she loved children. Children just for some reason flocked to her. And she
Hmm.
was in college, a local community college for child care development. So it's like, you can be a functioning addict too. It's not like people think heroin addicts, you're just like laying in bed all day, and you're just like, you don't take a shower, and you're all gross and nasty. And that's not how she was.
Right, right.
So it's just so many stereotypes with addicts. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, and I agree. Um, there are many stigmas attached to addiction. Um, a lot of people assume that if you use heroin, that you automatically inject it. That is
Yeah,
not true. A lot of people do start with snorting,
yeah.
um, and then kind of, for a lack of a better word, graduate
Well, she did
to
graduate to needles, but guess what? She shot it in between her toes, so no one can see it.
yes,
So,
yes,
that happens too, where you don't have to
yes,
have track marks. People can shoot in
right.
their groin, they
So
can shoot in
right,
between their toes.
right.
I'm not
I
trying to be
know.
graphic. I'm
No,
sorry to
no,
the
no.
panel.
This whole thing is trigger warning, guys. We are gonna be talking about stuff that is uncomfortable, and this talk is so important, guys, because I feel like these are things that need to be spoken about, right? We can talk about petty drama all day. We could talk about looks and all of that, but this is something that needs to be spoken about. This was my purpose coming on this platform, to try to educate people about addiction, to try to lessen the stigmas with addiction. Because me personally, I'm still being addict shamed, and other people are
Yes.
piggybacking on it and addict shaming me all through the platform. And I'm not ashamed of the struggles that I've had, because I've overcome them. But the reason that it bothers me so severely is that some people weren't given the opportunity to overcome it. Like
No.
Jennifer P's daughter, there's still people that are battling this disease, and it only takes one time to lose that battle. And I try to emphasize how important that is, that we do not make people feel like lesser people because they struggle with any kind of addiction. There are people that struggle with food addictions, with gambling, all of these addictions. And we have to have some compassion and empathy for people, because we do not want to turn someone away that may be right there ready to get some help, and they hear one thing on this platform that deters them and they end up losing their life. That is something I never want. I never want for anyone. And I don't sit up here holier than thou, because you guys know I curse like a sailor. Trust me, I curse like a sailor.
So
But
do I, but I'm being respectful today.
right, but there's a bigger picture and there's more important things. And like I said, this was my goal when I started a channel, was to discuss the things that are important to me. You know, I've been personally affected by HIV. I lost my sister to HIV. So I educated myself. I've been personally affected by addiction. Addiction runs deep in my family. So I educated myself on that. This is my purpose on this platform. And we have to be aware of our actions, especially as creators. We do have a moral responsibility on this platform. And I think education should be the number one priority. So I wanted to piggyback on what you said. I think it's so important because not everyone that even injects heroin will have visible marks. Okay, I know
Yes.
people that shoot up in their groin. I know people that
Yep.
skin pop so that you don't have any track marks. They just put it right underneath their skin. There are many different ways. Let me tell you something. Addicts are some of the cleverest people you will ever meet. And I used to tell people that if you were to put your talents and your abilities that you use to get drugs and do drugs towards something productive, would be unstoppable. Because as
Exactly.
addicts, we are ingenious. We're very, very skilled. And I think that that's very important. We know how to cover our tracks, hide things. We're very good at that. So as a mom, I just really want to say, as someone who is a mom and has suffered with addiction, you did the best you could, Jennifer. We can't help someone who isn't ready to be helped. And even though she didn't enjoy it, I know that feeling of not enjoying using, but having to, because that illness that you felt was so
I know.
overpowering.
And I blamed myself for so many years. Like I could have done something to save her,
No, Jenna.
and it haunted me even to this day. I'm just like I could have, I should have pressed her more. I should have made her go back to rehab. I should have done this and that, and I would give anything. I would give my own life to have my daughter back. And it's just I don't wish this pain on anybody because she never got to get married. She never had kids. She never got to graduate from college. And it's like every, anything that happened, anything else, it's like she's not here and she'll never be here. And she never got to grow old. And it just eats me up. It's just so heartbreaking. And, I love my daughter so much. It's just like a hole in my heart permanently,
I know.
and just for some needless thing, like I said, and it's just like I just wish I could have done something, and it's like I blame myself, and I should have been a better mother or something, and she'd still be here,
No, Jen, listen to me, okay? I need you to listen to me. You are an amazing mother. You are an amazing mother, okay? There was nothing you could do, Jen. Sadly, there was nothing you could do. And I need you to really understand, okay? As somebody that is a mother, as somebody that is a recovering addict, you could not help her. And I'm sorry, and I it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart for you, but you have to try to let go of that guilt. You
Yeah,
can't carry that, Jen. You can't carry that.
I know it's just eating me alive, and I think my other kids aren't on drugs, thank God, but I don't know if I could take another kid on drugs, but I know there are families out there where multiple children are addicts, and I just don't know how they do it. I mean, I don't.
I know.
But it's just. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get emotional. It's just.
No, stop apologizing. Don't make me. Don't make me. You
But
don't
it's just.
cry. I mean, don't apologize. Sorry.
It's just so hard because no addict wants to be an addict. No addict wants to be addicted to drugs, and it's a
No.
disease, and people need to realize this.
Yes.
And a lot of people, like I know a lot of some of her other friends are dead, and they don't. A lot of parents don't want to think their kid is on drugs, so they try to ignore it, or they try to just say, "Oh, it's not there," and in denial. I wasn't one of those, but others are,
Right.
or even family members. You don't want to. You're in denial. You think, "Oh, they would never be on drugs or this or that," and that's what happens is they don't. You don't reach out and say, "Hey, I think you need some help," and that's another issue that in families, parents and things like that, where they think, they're in denial, or they don't want to,
Yes.
face the fact. And that's another problem you have, where parents need to be aware, like, hey, if you see these signs,
Right. Yeah.
where, you know, it's basically like, always asking for money, or being gone when they, for longer than they
Yes.
should be, for like missing work, maybe missing school, stealing things in the home,
Yes.
losing weight, glossy eyes, or just, sickly looking, or being sick all the time. You might want to, take a step back and say, wait a minute, it could be drugs.
Yes.
And and step in and try to help.
And I think that that's so important what you say. We have to, we can't be expected to know or to see the signs, but we can just try to be more alert. Education is key. This is what I'm trying to do. Educate people so that maybe they can see the warning signs. And that's why I think it's so important to have you up here, Jen, because hopefully someone else can learn from your tragedy, sadly, so that we can prevent further tragedies. Um, a change in behavior where somebody's really angry quickly, where somebody, you know what I mean,
Yes.
like has a short fuse, where before that wasn't their personality. That's an indicator. Being withdrawn, always wanting to stay away from everybody,
Yes.
staying in their room if they're your child, and they're always, you have to look at the differences in
Yeah,
their
not hanging
personality.
out with their friends, not not
Yes.
not enjoying the activities they used to enjoy, things like
Yes.
that. Like, you parents really, I mean, and drugs are so rampant right now too, especially. Um, and there's so many, young kids, even, everybody that's addicted to drugs, and it's like it's they just need to be focused, and
Yeah.
so many people are not focused on because they think, oh, it can't happen to my kid. My kid wouldn't do that.
And I think that's so important, to do not allow denial to take over you. You have to be open to the possibility of anything as a parent, because I know as a parent you don't want to believe that. There's no way my child would, but it's always a possibility, and it's better to be proactive than to just say I'm not going to deal with that. There's no way. And again, don't misunderstand what I'm saying, because it's not a parent's fault if a child is on drugs, if you miss the signs, all of that, if you don't know
Yeah,
what to
definitely. I'm not
look for, you know? Go ahead, Jen.
guilt,
I'm
and
sorry.
like I said, I'm the same thing. It's not their fault if they don't realize it. But I'm just saying to maybe try to pay a little closer attention.
Yes. Yes.
But even if even if your child does die from an overdose, it's not the parent's fault. It's the disease that is at fault, and the addiction. But
Exactly.
yeah, I don't want to go that blame parents, because I blame myself, and I'm already you know
Yeah.
dealing
Yeah.
with enough. So yeah, but never to blame parents. But
No, right. I get that. That's not what you were saying, but I'm just saying, right. You're right.
yeah,
And it's just important, like I said, to be proactive as parents, because my parents didn't know either, and my parents are amazing parents. I had a mom that was an addict, but I don't blame her. It's just also what happens is, as well, is when you have addiction in your family, there is a predisposition for addiction. You know what I mean? The
yeah.
likelihood of, like, let's say my mom was an addict, I was an addict, so my children are predisposed to becoming addicts. So I am acutely aware of that, and I've educated my sons as best I can. I speak to them. I try to have an open dialogue with my sons, because I'm aware of that the chances of them be having an addictive personality, and it doesn't only mean with drugs. They can be addicted to sex, food, anything
Gambling,
in
anything. Yep.
anything in excess. Anything that you do in excess can become an addiction. And addictive personalities can be shown in different ways. It doesn't always manifest itself in drugs. So I think that's important, that I try to remember that too, that it's not always going to be drugs. It can be any other form of addiction. So I try to be aware of that. But I just really, really love you, Jen. I know your courage that you show every single day. She's one of the people that is always encouraging everyone, always there for everyone else. And she deals with grief every single day. You know, you never get over that grief. You never get over that feeling of missing your loved one. And I respect you so much. I always have, but my respect for you is just grown as I've gotten to know you. You're one of my close friends, and I just have a love for you that it's amazing. And I just think you're one of the most amazing people I've had the honor to meet. And I just want you to know that please, please try to be a little easy on yourself. You're too hard on yourself. You are too hard on yourself, Jen. You really are. And it makes me heartbroken for you. I wish I could take that pain away from you. And I know it'll never be away from you. But as I told you the other day, I will bother you every morning. I will text you like, Mom, 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 Mom. I swear to God. Every morning, Mom, Mom. I'll become Stewie in your ear. I swear to God. Just to remind you that you're loved, and we're always going to make sure that you're good, because you make sure everyone else is good. And this is why it was important too, because certain people have seen Jennifer P. Listen to me. She's a ride or die. She's a ride or die. If you're one of her friends, she's going to ride till the wheels fall off. And so people have
Yes,
misinterpreted her.
Yeah,
And
they have misinterpreted me, but I'm
right,
just, I tell it like it is. If anyone attacks my friends, I'm going hard. I mean, I've had
right.
a
And I
really
think,
rough life with
yeah,
a lot of tragedy. You know, I don't want to go into it, but I've
yes,
just had like bad things happen, and I'm just kind of like jaded. So I have very loyal friends, and I'm like, if you're my friend, I'm loyal to the end, and I will go at you like a shark. I mean, if you
yeah,
attack one of them, that's just how I am.
yeah. And I agree. And so I wanted people to get to know you a little more and
Yeah,
understand why you were so upset about the
yeah,
addict shaming and that it affects you personally. This was important to me because I wanted to show people this was exactly what I was talking about when I was talking about addict shaming. It doesn't only affect the person you're targeting directly, it directly affects me, but it indirectly affects other people, other recovering addicts, other addicts that are still sick and suffering, other moms, brothers, fathers, sons, daughters that have dealt with addiction that hits them too. And I think that that's something that we have to be aware of when we say these things. You may be aiming at me, but it's just like when somebody goes into a crowd and they shoot a gun, they're aiming at one person, but how many innocent bystanders get hit with them bullets? I'm sorry that analogy, but that's how it is. You're aiming at me, and you're indirectly hitting other people that weren't even your target. So you have to be very aware of your words. You are responsible for your words. And when you're a creator, you have a responsibility to watch what you say.
I mean, it affects your whole family. Like my youngest daughter was 10, and she's autistic, but she's high functioning. But still, I mean, it. And my other daughter was like, they were like best friends. So to this day, I mean, it affects the whole entire family. The whole entire family
It
is.
really does.
So you're not just attacking like the addict, you're attacking the addict's whole entire family and friends, because they
Yes.
all suffer, or they all have, some trauma involved with dealing with an addict or the death of an addict, and people don't realize it. Like
Yeah,
my
I
daughter,
agree.
I feel bad for my daughter, my youngest, because after my other daughter died, I was terrified my other daughter was going to die. So I was like a helicopter parent. I mean, she'd
Yes.
be playing in a snowball fight, and I'd be afraid that snowball was going to hit her and kill her. I mean, it was totally illogical, but
Yeah.
I was just had that fear of like, of her dying. It's just,
So you hovered. Yeah.
yes, I hovered so bad. It was terrible. And I feel bad. I apologize to her for it, but
But
it
I
was
think
just,
she understands, Jen. She
yeah,
understands, first of all, the trauma you've dealt with. Like you said, it affected your whole family. It affected your children. It affected everyone, right? And it's gonna affect you all differently, but the trauma and the pain is the same. The loss,
yeah.
that void that you're gonna feel is the same. And so I think that she, hopefully afforded you a little more grace, understanding, Mom, I get it, but you're suffocating me. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So you have to, it's understandable. It's understandable that you would be scared to death. Like, hey, where you going? I'm going to the kitchen, mom. Okay, let me see. I understand it. I get it. I get it 100%. And my parents, like I said, my dad and my stepmom never dealt with addiction with drugs, so they really didn't understand how to tackle it with me. I remember my stepmom, when I used to come over, she'd be like, let me see your arm. And so, because I did have a few tracks, and I remember she would say, let me see. Look, she wanted to see if they were fresh or not. It took a long time to gain trust back with my parents, because like I said, I thought I was clever, but after a while, my mom was like, oh girl, you look toe down. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, that's like with the needles. I didn't even know my daughter was shooting up until I found needles, and I'm like, well, no one here is a
diabetic.
Right. Diabetic, because at that time my daughter wasn't. I do have a diabetic daughter, but she wasn't taking insulin. But yeah, so I'm like, something's not right here. And then maybe you as being an addict can emphasize how severe the withdrawal is, like how dope sick, I guess you want to call it, you get.
Yes.
I mean, it's horrific, because people don't understand how physically, besides psychologically, but how physically sick you get.
Yes.
Because everyone's like, wow, well, my God, if you were clean for 2 weeks or a few days or whatever, why the hell would you go shoot up again? But maybe you can emphasize, like, explain exactly how severe it is,
Right. So I think that people assume that, okay, you let's say I stop, God forbid, I was using heroin, right? And I stop. And so tomorrow I'm sick, I'm withdrawing. It doesn't get better as the days go on. Sometimes it gets much worse before it gets better. And it's a pain that, okay, it's like, so you'll feel stomach cramps, but stomach cramps to the 10th degree. You'll have cold sweats. You'll have what we call restless leg syndrome. That's like when your arms and your legs feel like they're reverberating underneath your skin. It's like a through your whole arm and your legs. And all you want to do is just like shake your arms out and shake your legs out. And the restless leg and arm syndrome always conveniently happens at nighttime when you're trying to, like, please, okay, let me sleep for a few hours. That's when that starts. So you have that, the restless leg syndrome, you have the severe stomach cramps, you have the diarrhea, throwing up. Oh my God, it's just your body aches. Like if you have a flu, just times 100. Now we know COVID is like worse, but it's just every part of you is aching.
Yep.
And then mentally you're just beaten down. It is just something I don't wish on anyone. And it doesn't get better. You're dealing with it for days. Some people deal with it. With heroin, it all depends, right? Because also now the difference is that it's also important what heroin is cut with. Now fentanyl is in almost every kind of heroin you can find out there.
And that's what kills people. Yep, is the fentanyl. That's what's killing them. Yep.
Yes, fentanyl is lethal, even in small doses, and it is also even more addictive than heroin. Okay, and it causes it gives you a higher tolerance to drugs, so you need more of it, but the effects are way stronger, and the illness, the withdrawals you're going to feel are going to be way stronger, because now you're not just withdrawing from opiates, which is heroin. You're withdrawing from fentanyl, which is way, way worse. A whole new breed of animal we're dealing with. And that is really what has caused so many overdoses, because some people want to cut corners. They want to do whatever when they're selling, and so they'll cut it with certain things, and it's deadly. It's deadly. Okay. And this is the issue. This is why I say that addiction is a matter of life and death. It's not me exaggerating. It's a matter of life and death. As you said, your daughter was on Suboxone, right? And then and then
she and then she relapsed, and then she took like the same dosage of heroin that she had taken before, and it killed her.
Right, exactly, because her tolerance had changed. And with Suboxone, what some people don't understand is Suboxone blocks your receptors. Okay,
yes,
so
it does.
Like, let's say with heroin or whatever, you take the heroin, you can overdose because the heroin doesn't block your receptors, doesn't like cover your receptor. Okay, Suboxone has Narcan in it, and which, like, let's say that this is your receptors, right? And when you take Suboxone, it's gonna cover it. So now, if you take heroin or anything else, it's not gonna penetrate through that wall. What actually is gonna happen is the Narcan is gonna have the reverse effect. The Narcan is gonna cause you to go into immediate withdrawals for 24 hours. You can try to take heroin, you can try to take anything else, those withdrawals are going to stay there for 24 hours. There's nothing you can do to change that. And I think that is the great thing about Suboxone, that it is such an amazing deterrent against someone else using something else. You cannot overdose on Suboxone. But what happens is, like, let's say, like your daughter, she was on Suboxone, she got off of it. She didn't realize that her body is now not used to that same amount of heroin. So when she did, like, let's say she did a bag, usually instead of doing a little bit, she did the whole bag, and now she overdosed because her body could not take that. And that is
Yeah,
what
and I think a
happens a
lot,
lot of
I think that
times.
happens to a lot of addicts is
Yes.
they stop taking it, their tolerance goes down, and then they think, well, I can take the same amount that I used to, and it's killing them, you know?
Yes. Yes, you're right. Endorphins, yes, it blocks your endorphins. So it's very important, and this is why I'm saying, I know that this is graphic what we're talking about, but I think it's so important that we talk about this, because this is the education that may save lives. I think it's also important for people to get Narcan kits. They give these kits out. It's important to carry it, because even though you may not have a problem with drugs, you may not have any immediate family. Let's say, for me, I live in the city. I carry my Narcan kit with me. If I'm on the subway and someone is overdosing, I can administer the Narcan and potentially save their life. So it's
I have
always
Narcan, a
encouraged,
Narcan too, the
right?
spray kind. Yep, the
Yes,
nasal kind. Yep,
the nasal spray, right?
yep.
And they teach you. So you get like a few minutes, maybe an hour, and they teach you how to administer the Narcan, all of that. It's so important. And I think if you have the ability to get a kit and carry it, you may just save a life and not even realize it. It's very important. These Narcan kits are extremely important. They have saved so many lives. And I think if you have the ability to learn and administer it, you should carry it. It can't hurt. It cannot hurt. It can actually
No.
save people. I know people that have been saved by strangers that just happen to come along and happen to have a kit in their pocket and save a life. It's the person you're saving is going to be pissed off because they're going to go into immediate withdrawals and they're going to come up cursing you out, but you've saved a life. So I think that's very important. That outweighs them cursing you out, probably trying to punch you in the face. Don't worry about that. You saved a life. You have a black eye, but you done saved a life. So I think it's important. And I think this is why I always want to talk about addiction in some form, in some capacity, because it was such a big part of my life. It almost took my life. I almost died 3 times. And I say that because that's not a little thing. I woke up in the hospital 3 times, having been intubated, that I'm allergic to whatever is in opiates, whatever the heroin, whatever's in the heroin. I am severely allergic to it. And my lungs would close as soon as I would do a bag. When I would snort it, it was immediate. When I did it, through injection, it wasn't as quick. It took maybe half an hour, but my lungs would still shut down and I couldn't breathe. And it was so bad that I passed out, woke up 3 times in the hospital. The last time I stopped breathing, they had to revive me. And they said, if you don't stop, you're going to die. And that was the day that I said, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I'm so young. I was so young. 20. I was like, 22, 23. I didn't want to die. I did not want to die. And I really, really was tired of it. Was a cycle, and I was existing. I was existing to get the drug, do the drug, get the drug, do the drug. And it was just such a sad, miserable life. I was homeless. I was sleeping in the streets. It was cold. I remember the day that we were like, that's enough. I remember we were sleeping on a roof, and a nice woman had given us a blanket and a quilt because she saw us taking like the welcome mats, and she gave us a sheet and a quilt. And I was on the roof and it was raining, and I remember I was covering and um waking up in the cold, in the rain. It was just like, how much worse can it get? you know, like this is enough. I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. And February 28th, it was the worst of the worst. I had put myself in a situation where I had gotten kicked out of where I was living. I was in the street. I was alone. Um, I'm not going to tell anyone else's story. I'm only going to tell my side because it's not fair to tell anyone else's story. They are not public figures. So I will keep the story solely on me. And I was in the streets and I was cold and I was lost. And I was like, I really was like, Cindy, you can't anymore. And that was the day that I was like, you know what? I'm done. And went to detox, went to rehab, and I haven't looked back. I haven't used heroin in, it'll be 21 years. And I don't smoke weed. I smoke my little cigarettes. Yes, I do. And so when I say that I'm extremely proud, it's because I remember sleeping on the roof when I used to sleep on the E train, and people used to ask me, "Oh, Cindy, where are you sleeping tonight?" "Oh, in E's house." I used to tell people E's house. E was the E train. And I've come a long way, and people still talk crap about me. They shame me for certain things, but they have no idea of the gratitude that I have because I have a roof over my head. Things were at the lowest in my life. I've been at the lowest of the low. So you can't take that from me. You can't take what I've worked for. You can try to shame me. You can try to, but you cannot take what I've earned. I've earned this. I've earned my recovery. And I take it very seriously for me and for others. And I try to always give resources to others. I try to help others as much as I can. And so if you see me get passionate, if you see me curse somebody out because they addict shamed me, yes, because you don't know where I came from. And maybe you don't care to know, and that's fine. But every time you addict shame me, I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell a little more of my story because I'm going to remind you I am a miracle. Some of us didn't wake up. Some of us don't have the chance to overcome our battles, like Jennifer P's daughter. So yes, I am serious about my recovery because some people didn't get the opportunity to turn it around. And I think that that's important to remember as well.
Yeah, so many people didn't get the opportunity to turn it around. And so for the ones that have actually, I mean, it's pretty much miraculous, you know, that you were able to overcome.
Yep. And Kiki Ray, I think that's so important because I think Kiki Ray, where is the word you said? Because that is amazing, because that is so true. Kiki Ray, let me see. She said, sometimes they cut it with fentanyl, so word gets out. It's a strong batch and more people want it. That's so true. Because I remember there was a time where in the Bronx, they had this brand of heroin that was literally killing people. It was called HBO. And people heard, oh my God, people are ODing, like dropping, and everybody wanted it. Where do I get the HBO? Where do I get the HBO? And that is why addiction is called insanity, because it is insanity that you think that it's not going to kill you when you just heard it killed like 12 people. But oh my God, it must be good. I want to go get that. And that is so true. People,
and it's cheaper than heroin too.
Fentanyl?
Yeah. And it's easier to smuggle.
Yeah, right. And now they're mixing it with the heroin. Like I said, people that are drug dealers know how addictive, and that it is stronger. It'll hit you harder. You'll get higher. So people will come back to you over other dealers. So they look forward to mixing in the fentanyl. They're not thinking about that. They're thinking about the bottom line. They want money. They are dealing out death. You know, no disrespect to anybody that's sold drugs, but you're dealing out death. That's what you're doing. You deal in death. And so people want that. They want the fentanyl, but there's many people that don't know that they're actually ingesting fentanyl. And I think that that's the scary part. So many people, this is why we're trying to educate people too about the effects of fentanyl, the dangers of fentanyl. There's a lot more education about fentanyl and warnings. Please be careful. Things are laced with fentanyl, everything. Now, it was found out recently that people that do K2, I've never done that, thank God, but they are lacing K2 with fentanyl now.
Oh my God.
Yes. So now K2 is now laced with fentanyl and people are dying, close by here in the city. 12 people died in at the same time. They all went to the same place, bought the
Oh my
K2,
God.
and they all
Oh.
overdosed in a line. In a line.
Oh my God.
They overdosed. Yeah. So, and that's the truth. That's the God honest truth. 12 people overdosed at the same exact time. And it's insanity. So I just really, really urge anyone. And there's a number, I have it pinned also in my description. And my DMs are always open on Twitter, on IG. I had to privatize my account, but my email is selfiequeencindy@gmail.com, same spelled as my name here on YouTube. You can always email me if you want to be anonymous. I will always respect that. If you need help, if you want help getting into detox, rehab, any resources, you can always email me and I will always help you the best I can. I still have friends that are connected to rehabs, to housing, all of that. If you ever need any help, I can try to help you as best I can. Even if you need an ear, you need to vent, you need a word of encouragement, I genuinely mean that. My emails are always open. My DMs on Twitter, always open. I will lend you an ear. I will try to do whatever I can to help anyone that is struggling with addiction, depression, any of that. I think that the first step is admitting you have a problem. So
yeah, that's
you
the
take
first
the
step.
first step, you take the first step and you allow someone to help you through the rest of the steps. And I think that that's a huge step. The first step is the hardest step, right? Who wants to admit or who wants to even know that they have a problem? No one wants to be addicted. No one. No one wakes up and does drugs recreationally or has an accident and gets into pain management and becomes an addict. No one wants to be an addict. Okay.
Nobody.
And I think if we could just really remember that, to have a little compassion for people that have fought addiction.
Whether it's opiate, pain pills, heroin, meth,
yes,
alcohol. It's like
yes,
nobody wakes up and says, "Hey, I want to be an addict." Nobody.
I agree. Nobody wakes up and wants to be an addict. And if we just showed a little more kindness and respect towards anyone, this world would be a different place, but this platform would be a different place. Like I said, I've dragged people. Yup. You come at me crazy, I'm going to call you. I'm going to tell you you're a bitch. I'm going to tell you you're a bitch all day. Yep.
It can happen to anybody because, like I said,
Yes.
I didn't drink alcohol. I didn't do any drugs.
Right.
And it happened. It happened to me, to my daughter. It could happen to anybody. It doesn't matter who you are, and we need to stop with this stereotyping like certain people as addicts because it can happen to anybody, and that's what makes me so angry. It can happen to anybody.
It can. And if you think that it can never happen to you, never can happen to your kids, you're living in a fantasy world. It can happen to anyone. It happens to the richest of the rich, the poorest of the poor. It, like I said earlier, addiction does not discriminate. It does not care what color your hair is. It does not care how tall
where you live.
are.
Yep.
Yeah, it does not care about any of that shit. Addiction is an insidious disease that will get you every time. So I think that working against the stigma is important because we want more people to seek help. We want more people to ask for help. We do not want to be, I don't want to sit up here and find out later that I'm the reason that someone may not have shared their story or may not have asked for help. I wouldn't be able to live with that. I can't. Because
that's why addict shaming is so dangerous, and because that's what will happen. Someone will be afraid to share their story or admit they have a problem because they don't want the backlash of being shamed, and that is just disgusting.
Yes. And I'm gonna say this. I've had so many people reach out to me, and I mean this genuinely, and tell me that they are so relieved that they never shared that they have had family members that were addicts, that they are in recovery. They are so relieved that they never shared that because of what was done to me. That broke my heart for them, because education is how we're going to change addiction. We're going to change the face of addiction by educating, by sharing our
Yep. Informing and
stories.
educating. That's the only way it's going to get any better. Yep.
Right. So those of you that are out there shaming me, continuing to addict shame me, you are shaming people in your own audience that you don't even know you're shaming. Trust and believe me, you are. You are shaming people in your audience. And that is so wrong. So wrong and so harmful on so many levels. So wrong. You're
I
doing a
mean,
disservice to yourself.
all
Go
I
ahead,
can
I'm
say
sorry.
is all I can say is just imagine if you have a child, imagine your child in a body bag that you have to ID, and you have to have a 1 day funeral because they've been in a morgue freezer for 3 weeks, and bitch, then you come and you don't you dare say shit about it. Sorry, I didn't mean to swear in your stream. I'm
No,
so
you're
sorry. Just
good.
said
I'm not monetized, girl. The
it.
fuck?
Or you look at Cindy that was homeless and struggled, and I think you had children at the time, correct?
Yes. Yes, I
Yeah, they
did.
had children at the time and struggled and overcame. And how dare anybody addict shame? Because you could have, me or Cindy in your life as a family member, a friend, or someone you know, and that's why you don't do this.
Yes. Yep. And don't think it's because I had, I've shared my story of my mom, but I also have had a wonderful childhood. I've had a traumatizing childhood. Then I went to live with my dad and my stepmom, who were amazing parents, are still amazing parents. It was nobody's fault. It's never anyone's fault. Oh, it's her parents' fault. That's not how it works. It's not how it
No.
works. So I've never blamed anybody for my circumstances. It's just the decisions I made. One decision just leads to another decision that leads to another decision. And I'm very aware of the choices that I've made have led me to the course in life that I'm on, but I also don't regret it, because it's helped me grow as a person. And I think I'm a way better person because of all the adversity I've dealt with. I'm a more compassionate person. I have more patience for people. I have more empathy for people because I know where I've been, and I really, really love people. I do. I don't like some of y'all, but I love people on the whole. And some of y'all on this platform, y'all get on my damn nerves, but I genuinely do. I genuinely do. I genuinely try to come here and spread a positive message and show people that if I can do it, anyone can do it. That is my most important message. If you don't listen to anything else I say, if I can overcome it, anyone can overcome it. Anyone can, because I'm not special. I'm not special. I'm just fortunate that I made it. That's all it is. I'm just fortunate to have made it. Some didn't. I know many people that lost their battles, and my heart breaks for them because I remember them, and I seen them. So many people fell in tracks because they were on drugs and they nodded off and fell in the tracks. I lost so many friends like that. So I don't take it
And
for
like my
granted.
daughter, she was left dead naked in the bathtub,
Oh my God,
and
Jen.
she was there for 9 hours, because, no one called 911 or whatever, and they took all of her belongings.
Oh my gosh. And that happens way too often too. I know someone that was in an apartment using with a group of people, and he OD'd, right? They assumed that he was gone, and they were on, I think, the fifth floor. They proceeded to throw him out the window. And
See?
thank God that there was like 3 stories of trash outside. It was towards the back, it was in the Bronx. They threw him out the window. The trash saved him. He didn't die, but he was there for a few days. And when he finally was found and taken to the hospital, the rats had eaten all of his fingers. So
Oh
all
my
of
God.
the ends of his fingers were gone because he was there. And it's by the grace of God that he's alive, that he lived, because not only did he OD, which is one thing to overcome, he was then thrown out the window, which is the second thing to overcome. Then rats ate his fingers, which is the third thing to overcome. And when he got clean, he became one of the most amazing drug counselors I had ever known. He's since passed, but he lived many years after that, and he was one of the best drug counselors I had ever known. His name was Stewart. He was an amazing counselor. His entire heart was into that job. He took it very seriously. He cared for people. He genuinely helped people. And I will always remember Stuart because he, you know what I mean? He was a miracle to have lived through all of that. And he went on to do amazingly important things and helped his community so much. And so I will always remember him for the rest of my life. I will remember Stuart, you know?
That's like my daughter. She was found in what you call a drug house, and basically it's a drug house where they take an abandoned house. It was a really nice looking house, and they set it up to sell drugs. So basically, after my daughter died, I literally was insane, and I wanted to see where she died. So
Right.
I went to the house, and the back door had this big metal, like inside had this big metal hinge, like so I guess people couldn't get in. Well, I
So they can
busted it
lock it.
down.
So they can lock it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
So I busted it down. I broke my ankle. So
Oh,
stupid me, it was a family room. So I went up the back steps and this alarm went off. But to me, I should have ran like there's an alarm because I guess for the cops, they have an alarm
yeah.
so they can like
Right.
get rid of the drugs.
Yes.
So I kept going like my stupid self because I literally was insane. And I went inside and um, I found my daughter's clothes and her shoes. So I picked them up and I put them in the bag because the state police had, been to the house and, did their investigation, but her clothes and her shoes were still there. So I picked them up and I put them in a bag and I have not washed them to this day or touched them. But yeah, they had these drug houses where they're like alarms set up and big, metal door things. So people, have to like, physically open the door with the
Yes.
big metal thing and the alarm so that, they can like throw their drugs away, flush them down the toilet.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's insane that, that my daughter was like left in this house alone in a
I'm so
bathtub
sorry.
naked. And it's horrible. And this happens to like your friend. It's even worse. He got thrown out a window and his,
Yeah.
fingers bitten off. So
Yeah.
this is not the way people want to die and they don't want
Right.
to be addicted.
Right.
So,
But also another thing that I think is so important, guys, for anyone out there that's listening to us, okay, that may ever be in a situation where you're with someone who ODs, please call 911. Even if you call 911, tell them where they are and you leave the scene, please call
yep,
911 because you may think
yep,
that they've passed on, but they may not have. Stuart lived. People thought he had passed and they threw him out the window, and that wasn't the case. So if anyone is listening, please, if you ever unfortunate enough to be in that situation and someone around you overdoses, please call 911. Even if you leave the scene, please call
yeah.
911.
Like her supposed friends, if they would have just called 911, but no, they waited hours and then they uh, had someone else call. I mean, 9 hours later, it's too late,
Yeah, and that's the thing. People assume, right? But and also, let's say that, okay, so with your daughter, let's just use that as an example, right? If they ever found out later, they did an investigation and tracked down these people, it would have been, you would have probably got what, trespassing, or you know what I mean, carrying
Exactly.
drugs or whatever, paraphernalia. But now the charges will be way different because you left the scene and someone passed away. And it's sad because when you're in addiction, you don't think of that. You don't think of tomorrow. You're thinking of right now. I don't want to be in jail sick. That's the reality of it. But please just call 911. If you choose to leave, at least let them know where the person is. That may save their lives.
Well, the FBI got involved because I guess the guy that was running these drug houses was running drug houses all throughout different states and different cities and stuff. So the
Yes.
interviewed me, and I even told them that I broke into the house, and they're like, "Well, you just might not want to say that to anybody, but
Right. Right.
because they had cameras, and I'm like, they probably see this crazy lady on there breaking through the door. But
Yeah. But
yeah,
that's
so
that's sorry, good.
he
I'm
got
sorry.
prison time for it.
And I'm sorry to sound cold, but I think he deserved it. I think
Yeah,
he
he
deserved
did.
it. You never know that Jennifer P's daughter could have survived that. This is the thing. We think that someone, is even if they're foaming at the mouth, sorry, I know, trigger warning, guys, they may
But that's what
still be
happens.
alive. They live hours. You know, those moments are vital. Get help to someone. Do not assume that you're a doctor, especially if you have no medical background. They may be alive. You can save their life. Even if you throw them in a cold shower, even if you take an ice pack and put it for men, put it under their testicles. That will wake a man up really quickly. I know men that have been saved that way. Someone took
Yep.
some ice and put it, or a freezing ass soda, a can of soda, put it under their testicles, and they
Yep.
woke the hell up really quickly. Never assume that someone is gone. You know what I mean? Please, let's not do that. Let's just try to help each other. And that's why I'm saying those Narcan kits are lifesavers. They are lifesavers. If you have the ability to get your hands on a Narcan kit and learn how
Yep.
to administer one, I would recommend that everyone who is able to does that. Carry it in your purse. They even give you these little discreet little bags to carry it in, so no one knows what it is. It looks like nasal spray. No one will never know what it is. You know what I
No.
mean? And you may save someone's life. Even if you don't want to administer it, you pass it to somebody else. Tell them how to, it's just like a nasal spray. You save somebody's life. That is so important. And I try to tell everybody, if you can get your hands on a Narcan kit, get one. Get one. You never know. You never know. You can be home and somebody in the hallway, one of your neighbors is screaming. You run out, they need it. You come get it. You save a life. Someone across the street OD'd, and we were not informed until after the fact. We have Narcan here. Had I known, we would have went, administered it, and maybe possibly saved his life. He
Yep.
overdosed on fentanyl. You know, so it happens everywhere. And I live in a beautiful neighborhood, and it happens everywhere, guys. It happens everywhere. It happens to all classes of people. You know, so I think that that's the most important part, the education, the learning that it's the stigma. Let's try to wipe away that stigma, because
Yeah, the
people don't
stigma is
want to
the
get
worst.
involved, right? People don't want to get
Yep.
involved. They don't want to, be seen in that light. And I think it's important to remember it can happen to anyone. I know rich people that have overdosed. How many rock stars and musicians and actors have overdosed? It happens to anyone at any time, you know? I think that's important. So,
Yeah, it is.
yeah.
And
And Jennifer P, I just want to say to you, I have so much respect for you. I really do. Belinda Paul says, "What's your take on public interventions and addiction? YouTubers forcing Eugenia Cooney into rehab for her ED, or making a video and accusing someone of addiction for their own good." Um, so I think
my thing is, like, I think the person, it needs to be done privately. Publicly, it's just going to shame them.
exactly.
It's not going to do any
Yes.
good. And they're not going to get help until they admit it. They have to admit they have a problem. And you can't publicly shame somebody into
No.
getting help. It's not going to work. It won't. They'll relapse.
And
Sorry, go ahead, Cindy.
no, I agree. I was going to say completely. It should always be handled privately, because what happens is when you publicly out somebody that's shaming them, that is going to add a level of stress and embarrassment for them, that may just turn them away from wanting help. Also, they're not going to trust people. That is going to make them trust people even less. When you're caught in the addiction, your grips of your addiction, you don't know who to trust, right? You don't know, people usually want things from you. So when someone does that to you, that makes you feel so betrayed that it makes you not trust anyone. And when you're in the point of considering getting help, anything done like that can turn you away and can make you not want to get any help. So if you think that you're helping someone, you're actually harming them. You're doing more harm to someone when you publicly out somebody, because certain things shouldn't be said for content. I would never come on my platform. I'm not shaming anybody who's done it in the past. People have made mistakes. Okay. This is not about any in particular situation, because I'm not familiar with any particular. Eugenia Cooney, I know her. I think she just needs a lot of love, acceptance, and it needs to be handled privately. And with that kind of disorder, just as with substance abuse, you can't force anybody. Right? You can, some states you can force people. You can do a 5150. Some states have a Baker's law where a family member, a spouse, can force someone into rehab or detox. From my experience, personally and professionally, It only works when the person wants it. You can get clean for somebody that may work for a few days, a few weeks, a few months. It won't last unless they're given the tools to live a different life. I say this all the time because I think it's so important. Learning to cope. Many people that use drugs, they medicate their feelings, they numb their feelings. It's because they couldn't cope with a certain situation, they couldn't cope with something that happened in their life, they couldn't cope with things in general. So teaching addicts, people that are struggling, to learn to cope with, they say this is a NA term, a recovery term, dealing with life on life's terms, right? Life is going to happen whether we're ready for it or not. So equipping people with coping skills is going to be key to the success, long-term success of anybody in recovery. So that is what I had to learn. I had to learn to cope with anything life throws at me. Losing my mother, that was a big one, because I never thought I would be able to handle that. I thought I may relapse behind losing my mother. I lost my mother in April 13th, 2020, and I didn't use. I had to deal with the grief. I had to deal with the loss. I had to deal with the pain. And that's how I deal with everything in life. I deal with it. I feel it. I allow myself to feel it. I allow myself to realize that it's normal to feel it. It's normal to feel shitty. This Christmas was one of the worst Christmases I've ever had in my life. And I felt it. I dealt with it. I dealt with it.
Because you learn coping skills. That's what helped you. You learn coping skills. So many people have childhood trauma or just trauma in their life or just stress in their life. And that's what they do. They turn to alcohol or drugs to numb themselves so they don't have to feel anything. And that's how a lot of it happens, you know?
Yeah. Some people use drugs or alcohol not to deal with their problems. But what happens is that once you snap out of it, those problems still exist. And now you have a bigger problem. Now you have an addiction on top of all those problems that are still there. They haven't gone away. You may have ignored them, but they are still there. And now you have a deeper problem. So I think that's my opinion on that.
But I'm proud of you, Cindy, that you made it through the holidays and you didn't relapse and you lost your mom. I know when my daughter died, a year later, my mom died. And my dad died when I was 15. So I know the holidays are.
Yeah. Jen, you still there, Mama?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, the holidays are rough. I know. I mean, like me, it's like I hate the holidays, but at least you got through it and you did it, and you should be so proud of yourself.
Thank you. You should too, because I know it was hard for you. I know you were having a hard time yesterday, as I was, as a few others were. You know, police wife life. It was difficult for a few of us, but we have a great support system. The group of friends that we
like I said, without the small group of friends, you and JJ and police wife and Caddy and Nikki and those those few people, Cindy's, the other Cindy, I don't know how I would make it through, because we talk every day, and if I didn't have you guys, I mean, so many times. And Barrett, oh my God, I'm so sorry, Barrett, my sweet Barrett. You know, I don't know how I would just get through. Like literally, our group of friends is just so wonderful. I literally, without you guys, I mean, I don't know how I would get through so many things. It would just be terrible.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why I'm saying, guys, if you're struggling with anything, if you're struggling with mental health issues, if you're struggling with depression, anxiety, reach out to somebody. Reach out to somebody that you know you can call at any time and be like, can I talk to you? And even they'll wipe the boogers out of their eyes and be like, yeah, what up? You know, reach out to somebody. Do not suffer in silence. Do not suffer alone, because that may save your life. You know, there's always somebody that's willing to listen. And if you don't have support, you can reach out to me. I have 2 ears. They work very well. My eyes, not so much. My ears work pretty good. So I'm always willing to extend an ear to anyone in need, because I know there were times when I needed those ears, and people did the same for me. I think with recovery and everything in life, it's about paying it forward. I may not be able to financially help anyone, but I can do so with my time, with my heart, with resources. I can pay it forward that way. And I always hope to do that. So
if you just reach out, you know, there is help available. There's someone that will listen to you. So please, somebody that's, you know, struggling, just reach out.
Yeah. And
like I said, me, I'll give you my email. for any parents that have gone through this, and you can put it on this, your video after, and you can,
I will.
email me. I'll give you my
Yes.
phone number. We can talk. I mean,
Yes.
I know what you're going through. So I will definitely, any way I can help.
Yes. Anyone that's dealt with a loss or may have some questions or, Jennifer P is great. Also, she's an RN. She's just great. She's just amazing. My friends are amazing. I'm telling you, we balance each other. I'm like the nutcase of the group, but they really have helped me so tremendously.
You're not the nutcase. I'm the nutcase. I'm the crazy, angry one. No.
no, she's not. But I'm glad that all of you guys were here today. I'm sorry I missed a lot of comments. I need to get my glasses, guys. But I do watch the replay the next day, and I do see all the comments. And I appreciate you guys for coming and for listening to such a sensitive topic, and for allowing us to share with you and you guys to share with us. Feel the love. I know that you're dealing with the loss of your mom. You lost your mom recently too.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And you know that my heart is with you, and I understand that it was a lonely time. I get it. Struggling financially, people poor shame me all the time. They can kiss my ass. I don't give a fuck. But I get it. I get it more than most. And you can't kick me when I'm down. I'm good. Trust me. There's one thing, somebody likes to call me low self-esteem Cindy. They don't know me. Ain't nothing low about my self-esteem. You got me fucked up.
No.
There's nothing low about my self-esteem. So that's how I know you don't know me, homie. But
no.
I love everyone here, and I thank you guys for being here. Jennifer P, you are my girl for life. And I really, really am honored to have you as my friend. I think that
Thanks for having me on.
A blessing. Thank you for being here. Let's see if anybody else has any comments. True Ball of Wax. Thank you, Kirsten. She says, thank you so much. Cindy and Jennifer P, mad respect to both of you. You are both warriors.
Yeah, and I couldn't read chat after someone in the beginning did that. I shut chat off, so I couldn't read any of the rest of the chat. So sorry if someone questioned me or said something to me. I'm sorry if I ignored you. It was not intentional.
Yeah, I was trying to ignore the chat too because it was a lot going on. My mods are the shit. They handle stuff.
Yeah, they're on it.
Yeah. So True Bell of Wax says, sorry. Feel the love. My heart is with you. I have suffered from depression and anxiety. I get it. My mom has been in the hospital for almost 10 days. I've been so scared. So I just send love. And you're in our prayers, True Ball of Wax.
Yeah, definitely sending prayers. So sorry for your mother.
Yeah, you're definitely in our prayers, and we'll be praying for you and for your mom. I think that positive energy, I believe in that. I believe in putting out positive energy and just hoping for the best, being prepared for the worst, but always hoping for the best. And that's how I try to tackle everything. And so I thank you guys for being here again. JFid says, I have connections across the country. I can help people make those connections. I'll do whatever I have to do. I mean that. Thank you, JFid. And if anybody does have any resources, please, you let me know. I'll put it in my description. I can edit my description and make sure it says all of that. Any resources we can put out for anyone that may need it, especially New Year's is coming up. New Year's is also
That's a hard
very
one,
difficult
very
time.
hard.
Right. So I will be here the day after New Year's again. But if anybody needs to reach out, please reach out. If I will always keep it private. I will never divulge anyone's name or anything they've told me. I keep that private. Okay. So you can always feel free to reach out. Hi, Adam Harris. I hope your fiance is well. Yeah, so I love you guys. Hey, Shay. Thank you for being here, Prima. Thank you. Thank you all for being here again. I love you guys. Te quiero, te adoro, all that good stuff. My wave. Jennifer P, I love you. I'm gonna do my corny little outro.
Love you too. Yep, do your out of here thing.
Yeah.
We're good.
My frantic wave, my little boy. Love you guys.